So let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. And oh, again, both feet flat on the floor, about a hip's width apart. So for those of you who've just come out of the mindfulness meditation, hour and a half, we're just going to repeat some of that now. Have your knees about a hip's width apart and feel the weight of your hands in your lap.
What are we doing?
The weight of your sits bones in the chair. And align your shoulders with your hips and your ears with your shoulders. And imagine your spine is a beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen your spine. Putting some space in between the vertebrae. Then go to the crown of the head and just release any tension there. Relaxing the scalp, the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth, back of the tongue, back of the head. And allow your shoulders and shoulder blades just to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. Now bring your attention to the sensations of the breath as you inhale and exhale. So the nostrils, feel the cool air as you breathe in and slightly warmer as you exhale. Then as you breathe in, notice the expansion of the lungs, the chest cavity, all the sensations there, the diaphragm dropping. And then as you exhale, diaphragm rises up and everything kind of contracts back in. Be aware of sounds in your environment, distractions of any kind. Notifications on your phone, on your screen. Smells. Someone's cooking maybe. But particularly sound, we get very distracted by it. So we just allow all of that to be there. And then, turn to your mind now and just see what's going on your time of day, wherever you are. So we're moving into late evening here in the US, and for some people it's very late on the East Coast. I know for some of you it's the middle of the day or early morning. So just allow your thoughts to arise and abide, and then just see if you can release them. Try not to kind of cling on to the thoughts or have like an opinion about them. Sometimes we get caught up in all the emotion of our thinking. Just see if you can try to avoid being caught up with your own little mini documentaries. You can just observe like maybe a scientist. And then bring to mind all the people of our life, our loved ones, our strangers, and the ones we're not so fond of, we have aversion for, and imagine they're all equal. They want to be happy, they don't want to suffer, and they all have an extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all the sentient beings. And then, our dear friend Lou, and it will be very happy for him to be able to get to hospital where he can be taken care of and where he can receive the pain medication he needs. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So Lama Yeshe used to say, we create negativity with our mind so we can equally change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech. And then general, then regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering, and also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest, like basically our delusions that are the cause of why we harm others, and then think again, I'm sick of this suffering, and then think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to this power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And it's not, we're not needing Buddha or some higher power to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves, we're healing ourselves by relying upon his medicine, his methods. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher, if you have one, manifesting in this form for your benefit. And if you don't particularly have a teacher and you have a connection with His Holiness the Dalai Lama or some leader like that, you can imagine His Holiness, for example, on the crown of your head. So he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion, and has a beautiful radiant face. And his eyes are shaped like lotus petals. And they're peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So then we have under this section of reliance, we have a second section called compassion, or developing compassion. So compassion really is a wish for others to be free from suffering. Also ourselves, we can have compassion towards ourselves too. But we do really need to rely on sentient beings, other sentient beings. So the very beings we've harmed and those who have harmed us. So think about people you've harmed, maybe recently or in the past. And then in general, perhaps all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then think about those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to this power remedy, and this is the medicine. And here we do this practice of purification, and we use visualization and mantra. So for those of you who might be in here for the first time, I'll recite the first, we'll do each of them, this 100-syllable mantra we do 7 times. So, if you can't catch it immediately, just you can listen, or just recite as much of it as you can, and allow the sound to wash over you. So you imagine Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it pours into you and keeps coming until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mempi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body. Except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about other people behind their backs. And then getting other people to kind of chip in and agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sabasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it happens instantly. The light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, and it's just as instantaneously as you walking into a dark room and flicking on a switch and the light coming. So imagine the moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment and neediness and anger and depression, anxiety, bitterness and grudges and resentment, jealousy, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mebiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Nupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So imagine now, be delighted. All your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. They're gone. And now think there's no space in your heart for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. The next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine Vajrasattva sends light and nectar and it fills you completely. And so imagine the nectar flowing down, pushing out all the negativity of the body, the nectar flowing up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech. And then the light coming and blasting all of the delusions. And so this is, you visualize this all at the same time. And also at the same time, you're reciting the mantra. So it's a lot, it's kind of busy. And in this way, this eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasappa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasappa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa maha samaya sattva a hum pe ambhadra safa samaya manupalaya vajra safa dina patita dita me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anurakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa maha samaya sattva a hum pe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve. This is the fourth and final step in the purification process, and it's really crucial. This because this is the place where we make a determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And it might not be never again, because that's a little bit like a New Year's Eve promise. After about a week, you forget it. But this way, if we sort of if we choose something that we'd like to work on, if we have an awareness of some habit that we have, could be self-rumination, self-doubt, something like that. The minute we become aware of that, we can maybe just work on that for a little bit using, there's many different kind of techniques out there, but one of them is to sort of try and take a step back from the emotion of the thought and then have a good look at it. And then taking a step back, you're distancing yourself somehow from the thought. And then maybe you can talk to yourself about maybe doing a little bit less self-rumination, just something like that. You can choose your own process. But even just make a determination to become aware of something that's a habit that doesn't serve you or might even harm you. And then Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And next, Lama Zopa Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So really rejoice in your efforts for coming along here tonight, working on your karma, purifying all the negativities and the negative seeds, and just dedicate all this merit, all this positive energy you've created by doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So here we do 3 verses of a sutra called Chanting the Names of Manjushri, and this was recommended by His Holiness the Dalai Lama for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche. The perfect Buddha's perfect Vajra posture, retaining for all beings the Buddha's Dharma. The Lotus Buddha's celebrated son, the knowledge treasurer for the omniscient. The sovereign king controlling all illusions, the foremost master of the Buddha's spells, called Vajra Tiksna, sword supremely mighty, completely pure, the highest syllable. A top pain's remedy, the Mahayana, with Vajra Dharma as his mighty weapon, with Vajra depth, renowned as Jinajik, with Vajra thought, aware of how things are. Okay, everybody, let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for a swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of your own individual teachers to live long, happy, healthy lives. Okay, thank you so much, Shayla,